the royal
We do nothing
public.
wrong. I mean, we're just perfectly reacting to it. Everyone else is wrong.
Obviously. That's the point of this podcast, is that we are right and people should listen to us. There's your clip, business boys. There's your show promo clip.
Hello and welcome to HR Confessions. I'm Rebecca Taylor.
And I'm Kim Rohrer. We are here bringing you unfiltered perspectives from the world of HR, real stories, and hopefully good advice.
So Kim, I need to know, have you ever had a moment where you felt your soul leaving your body? You just witnessed something that made you feel so humiliated for that person that your soul just completely left your body?
Yes. Yes. I'm trying to think, like, humiliated is less, comes up less for me than angry. I don't tend to, fun fact, I don't tend to feel a lot of embarrassment in my personal life. It is not part of my brain chemistry to be embarrassed very often. I just don't care enough, I guess. But I have been in meetings where I've watched someone speak to someone in a way that I felt like I was then like floating outside my body like a specter, just like hovering over the space, ready to pounce. Yeah, the idea of secondhand embarrassment. I usually am just like, don't feel bad, no big deal, no embarrassment needed. I usually get more mad at the person who's making someone feel badly than I do feeling awkward about that. But I have definitely been in work environments where I'm like, oh no.
Yeah. Did I just see what I just saw?
Yeah.
Is this really happening?
Is this what we're doing? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Yep.
So you're going to relate a lot to our HR hero today, because
Wonderful.
That's essentially what we're going to be talking about. This story is about an all hands meeting that went places that no one was prepared for.
Goody. Love an all hands story.
I know, me too. So you ready? Ready to go?
Mm-hmm.
So the date of the story is unclear, but I imagine it took place within the last 5 years or so, just because of the dynamic of this office setup. So we have about 70 employees. They're all on this regular all hands call. It's a normal, routine, boring Zoom all hands. And it ends in a way that no one is ever going to unsee.
Uh-oh.
So our HR hero, actually, she's more of like HR as a horrified bystander. She's been at this company for about 2 years. And we're calling her Elaine. So the reason I think this is within the last 5 years or so is because the company has a hybrid setup. So like the offices themselves are sleek with like kombucha taps and 70-person org calls that are still 100% on Zoom, even though at any given time, at least half the company's in the office together. You know, the type, like, remember when there was all this RTO talk where it's just like, oh, how do we do hybrid? Where it's like, oh, we'll just make it so that everybody's on Zoom all the time anyway, even if you're half in the office together.
Totally makes sense and is not a bad use of resources. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not at all. Not at all. But that's important to note for how this goes.
Wonderful.
So as is typical in these all hands meetings, the leadership team is going through all their updates. So we've got product launches, we've got customer wins, quarterly targets. Folks are kind of glazing over in that Zoom fatigue way, because I think this is like an hour-long call too. So you know how it is when it's just like, okay, here's another update. We could just have in a dashboard. This is fine.
Yep.
So we come to the last presenter, and he's an engineer named Thomas. And Thomas says he wants to share a short video from his recent volunteering trip. So volunteer trip presentations in HR are kind of like catnip, like they're wholesome. They make people feel good about the company. It's like trees and matching t-shirts and like maybe a goat, right? Depending on what it is that they're doing.
Volunteering activity, or just like they have volunteer time to go do their own thing whenever they want?
We're going to get into that. So this is just, it's not team. So he's there on his own, but they do have volunteer time.
Gotcha.
So they actually have like a big volunteer culture with PTO days specifically allocated for volunteer work.
So it's normal that he's going to like come and present and be like, here's what I did using my volunteer hours. Great.
Exactly.
Love it.
Normal for folks to do these kinds of presentations and like share the causes that they work and care about with their peers. Like it's a big kind of foundation of how they all work.
Yes.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. So Elaine also loves when people claim this time slot. So like the other presentations don't go on and on just to fill the time, because it's one of those places that'll do that.
Yes. And you always want volunteers for this kind of thing, because you want people to be, we used to do this at a company I worked for. I'm just interrupting your story, but we used to do this at a company I worked for, where when people would come back from a vacation or they would come back from a like a long PTO or parental leave, we'd ask if they wanted a slot of the all hands to share like what I did on my summer vacation kind of deal.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was like pulling teeth trying to get people to get up and do it. We, at this company, when it got very, very large, we ended up having an all hands channel that was like vacation snaps. And it was like a special all hands channel in Slack because we were
Just
like,
for that.
we have too many employees to like get people to come up every week or every month and talk about where they went on vacation. So we made a vacation snaps channel. And it's like, it's a really good kind of creative use of internal communications to help advertise people in HR policies by having employees share how they're using them.
Yes. Yeah. And I love that you say that because it is a super slick way to kind of just like let the culture, like that is culture, like having a volunteer culture, wanting to share, letting it speak for itself, highlights like things that are just like, hey, it's not just HR reminding you that you have this time to use. It's someone saying like, I use this time. This is what I did with it. Do you want to do this too?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Elaine is just like, she's happy. She's like, yes, great. Like I did my standard updates, my hiring updates, whatever. And now we've got Thomas. He's going to come in and he's going to present about his volunteer trip.
Great.
So Thomas shares his screen.
What could go wrong?
QuickTime. He shares his screen. QuickTime opens. The video plays. Now, I like to imagine that the video consisted of Thomas planting trees, harvesting honey, like something based on conservation and nature work. But all I have is my own speculation because no one actually remembers what was in that video. This is because once the video ended, QuickTime auto-played the next video in Thomas's library.
Oh, no.
And this is the video that everyone remembers.
Oh, no.
At first, the image is kind of dark and you can hear a woman's voice.
Oh, no.
We'll say she sounded like she was having a good time.
Oh, no.
The image focuses and Elaine realizes that the whole company is now watching a homemade sex tape featuring Thomas and his wife.
Oh, no.
And now a quick word from our sponsor, SkillCycle. SkillCycle is a talent development system that connects performance management to one-to-one coaching and development. The SkillCycle platform aligns individual growth with business objectives through continuous feedback, AI-powered development paths, and leadership training. As a SkillCycle co-founder, I'd love to talk to you out there in our audience, progressive people leaders who really get it. Let's chat over coffee on us to give us some feedback on the episode and about the challenges you're facing today. You might just contribute to a topic on our next episode. Email us today at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. That's hrconfessions@skillcycle.com.
Oh.
I have to ask.
No.
What's your immediate reaction here?
Close the laptop.
Just yours?
No.
Close yours and walk away.
Bye. This podcast is done. I mean, if I'm Elaine in that situation, I theoretically have control over the all hands slides, so I'm just turning it off immediately and being like, okay, thank you, Thomas. On to the next topic. I am horrified for Thomas. That is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. I didn't even know QuickTime would just automatically play the next video in your library. Clearly Thomas didn't either.
Yeah, surprise feature, I guess.
There's some feedback for QuickTime.
Yeah.
Also, feedback for Thomas, don't put your volunteer video in the same folder as your homemade.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Oh.
Yeah.
And this is his work computer.
Well, we're going to get to that.
Okay.
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
Yeah. But you're asking the right questions, right? So so we'll keep going because like you're asking
I feel
the right
like
questions.
the title of this episode is Oh No. Okay.
It's just the processing.
Okay, yes. Okay, I'm ready. Continue.
So the video played for something like 8 full seconds before Thomas could pause it. And then there was like another 3 seconds before he stopped sharing his screen. So it's just like paused.
That's too many seconds.
Sharing his screen, too many seconds. And this is clearly like someone who's just like, oh my God, like just frozen, freaking out what to do.
Yeah.
And this is a camera on culture because they've got this like hybrid setup where everybody has to be on Zoom. So this is a camera on culture. So like as soon as Thomas stopped screen sharing, all the eye can see is 70 employees basically live reacting to what they just witnessed while trying
so this is
so
all
hard.
on Zoom, right? There's no in-person.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, they have half the people are actually in the office, but they're sitting at their desk on their own laptop on Zoom.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're not
because
like
this
gathered
is the way
in a
that we do
space
this now.
Got
Right.
it. Okay.
Because this is the
So
way that we do
everyone's
hybrid
on
now.
Zoom,
Mhm.
jaws dropped, silently
Just staring.
at this void that once was Thomas's sex tape.
Yes, and his wife. Yeah.
Oh,
So they're basically just like live reacting. You see every facial expression, and they're also trying so hard to not make it worse or humiliate Thomas even more.
right.
Like
That's
you can
nice
see
of
everyone
them.
kind of just like, oh. So the CEO steps in to wrap up the meeting. And he goes, "Thank you, Thomas, for sharing that with us. We always love to see how invested everyone is in their communities. Please make sure you use your volunteer time. And if anyone wants to organize a group event, please coordinate with HR to get that going. Elaine, anything to add?" So just like flips it to Elaine. And clearly, this CEO in the moment is going with a strategy along the lines of like, the show must go on, which
Pretend nothing
honestly,
happened.
yep, which honestly, I think was the right move in that moment. Just
Solid.
let it go.
Yeah.
And Elaine goes, "Nothing else to add on my end. Thanks, Thomas."
Bye.
Meeting ends. Everyone signs off Zoom.
Oh my gosh.
So, okay, so this meeting ends. Everyone signs off Zoom. Half the people are physically in the office and half the people are just at their houses living their lives, right? So, what's the HR protocol here? Are you quietly DMing Thomas? Are you pinging the
Yes.
CEO? Are you pretending your internet froze? Or is this like a we never speak of this again kind of thing?
Well, we definitely have to speak of this again. We can't just pretend nothing happened. I immediately jump into damage control, and by that I mean I contact the CEO and make sure that he doesn't contact Thomas. I want to keep this as contained to HR as possible. I don't trust anyone else to handle this. I don't want his manager saying anything to him. I don't want the CEO reaching out and being like, "Hey, what was that?" I want to shut it down. And the way that I know best to shut it down is to reach out to the CEO and say, "Hey, just a heads up, I'm going to reach out to Thomas. I will handle this. If you need to say anything to me or you want to like check in, happy to check in with you, but like I've got this. Go on with your day.
Don't touch it.
Then please don't touch this."
Yeah.
And then I would reach out to Thomas and be like, "Hey, want to chat?" But I would probably, instead of just doing like want to chat, because that's terrifying to someone, I would reach out to him and like try to chat a little bit on Slack or Teams or whatever to let him be a little asynchronous about this, because he's probably feeling so much embarrassment that the last thing he wants to do is get on a call with HR immediately. Clearly this was an honest mistake. He wasn't like out there trying to blast this. So
Yeah.
the urgency is not super high in terms of like, oh, we've got a malicious actor on our hands. Like, I want to give Thomas a moment to let his blood pressure come down and just be like, "Hey, I know that was a mistake. Things happen. Let's talk about it when you're ready. I'll check in with you in a little bit." And like give minutes, instead of being like, "You're being summoned to HR."
Like the principal's office in that case, right?
Yeah. I mean, shit happens, right? Like, I feel bad for the guy. I feel I would want to let him know before I take any action. And by action, I mean like reminding the team, sending a general reminder to the company, like, reminder when you are going to share your screen, like, know what the hell you're doing. I don't know if the company has like an internal communications policy or a personal laptop use policy or like any of this kind of stuff, but I wouldn't jump straight into what policies Thomas violated, because clearly this was a mistake. But I would let him know before I communicate to the team what my plan is, so that he doesn't feel like he's being publicly shamed.
Yeah. Yeah. And I like that you're going that route. Elaine
That's
is
like, you can't ignore it. You can't just pretend it didn't happen, because everyone right now is DMing each other about it.
Yeah. And I think the way you're talking about it is like a good balance of, you need to make the employee feel safe and okay, and also deal with potential risk at the company, or just the company side of it is like, you have to address both. And in, maybe in whatever order you choose to do that, however you choose to do that, you got to address both though.
You got to do something.
So of course, to no one's surprise, Slack just erupts. Like, so they have a channel specifically for the all hands meeting where people can ask questions while someone is presenting, give kudos, like all that. So of course this channel's now blowing up.
Oh boy.
And it's like, someone's like, did everyone just see that? As if you hallucinated something.
Obviously.
Right.
Because this is what's going to happen is you're going to get these like troll people who come out of the woodworks to like start trolling Thomas and making him feel bad. And like, you always are going to have employees who are like, poke, 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 poke. No pun intended.
Oh, no.
Sorry. I couldn't help myself. But this is where you really want to lean on your company values to inform how you kind of course correct the culture that's forming. Because this is an opportunity for things to go off the rails very quickly.
Yes. Yeah. And so you get a lot of like, did everyone just see that? Someone goes, confirming, I am horrified. Someone goes, what was that? And then someone goes, best all hands ever. Because like, there's always one of those, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So now Elaine is getting hit with DMs. And this is all like boom, 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 like literally one right after the other. So like, you know how it is. Like you cannot physically respond to everything all at once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Elaine's getting hit with DMs. Her coordinator, she goes, do we need to address Thomas? Legally, I don't think this is a policy violation, but culturally, I don't know. So like, you know, this is her coordinator. So obviously trying to kind of like show like, hey, I can be HR about this. Like, let's see.
Right.
The legal counsel goes, please, for the love of God, do not put anything in writing with the word video. So for some reason, this is the guidance that Elaine's getting. So our girl Elaine takes a deep breath. You know how you can feel she's got like all those like Slack sounds, like whatever it is. And she's trying to respond and not react, which is like a true testament to experience in HR, is like the emotional intelligence, the self-control to be self-aware enough to know like you need to respond to something, not react to something.
Yeah.
Everyone has something to say, unsurprisingly. But Elaine chooses to block them out temporarily and walk away from her desk. She's in the office that day, and so is her coordinator. So she says to her coordinator, please just like post, you know, please let's refrain from conversation about this in public channels. If you have any questions, send Elaine a direct message. So she's got the public part of it done. And so she's in the office that day, and so's Thomas. So Elaine walks over to Thomas's desk to check on him and see if he's okay. Her first response was like, I don't give a crap about what all these Slack messages say right now. Like, this is an employee who we need to make sure that he feels safe while we deal with like just you know, trying to get everybody to just act like decent human beings. And I am so team Elaine in this moment. What about you?
Oh yeah, absolutely. She's doing great.
Yeah. So she goes up to him, she like knocks on his desk, like the little like on the side of it. She goes, excuse me.
Hey.
She goes, hey, you okay? Want to chat? And poor Thomas is just beet red. And he goes, yeah, sure. So they duck into a huddle room that's right near his desk. Cause like, I guess there's just something like right there.
That's good.
The door closes and Thomas immediately goes, I am so sorry. That was obviously a mistake. And Elaine goes, mistakes happen all the time. Are you okay? Because like, how violating does that feel? Like, regardless of how it got there, like that is horrifyingly violating. And Thomas goes like, I'm just really embarrassed, like, especially for my wife. People here know her. So he's been at the company for a while. So people there like know his wife. And, you know, so Elaine's just like, again, masterclass in EQ. She's just like leaning full empathy. And she goes, that's understandable. Like, she's not trying to tell him not to be embarrassed. She's not trying to diminish his feelings. She's just like, completely understandable that you're embarrassed. So then after a pause, Thomas asks the inevitable question, am I in trouble? Because of course, like, he's thinking that.
Of course.
And so Elaine had kind of like had like a few minutes to sort of, you know, expect him to ask that question when she walks over there. So she sort of came with like something ready to say. So she goes, clearly this wasn't a malicious act. So let me just clarify a few things so I can address this in the best way. So not saying that he's not in trouble, but just being like, I just need to confirm some stuff. She goes, was that file on your company computer? And he goes, oh God, no, everything was on my personal computer.
Great.
And she goes, could anything have been saved or accessed using your company credentials? And he goes, no, everything is totally separated. So this was like his personal volunteer trip. So he has personal files and, you know, so it's like, okay.
He like plugged in his personal laptop to present to the company.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so Elaine goes, okay, based on that, I don't have a reason to believe any disciplinary action is necessary. Like I said, mistakes happen. Moving forward, just make sure your settings don't allow autoplay when you're sharing videos in a meeting. Also, to anybody listening to this episode, double check that. Just make sure. And she goes, if it happens again, we might have to have a different conversation, but for now, I wouldn't worry too much. And then poor Thomas. So now he's like, Maslow's hierarchy, right? So like at first he's
Right.
like self-preservation. He's like, okay, I'm good. So now he's worried about like the social element. He goes,
Mhm.
but aren't people going to talk about it?
Yes.
So
Yes, they
yeah,
are.
yeah. And in this moment, what Thomas is looking for, like not without directly saying it, but what he's looking for is like, will you protect me or will you
Right.
help me? Like, am I on my own in this?
Mm-hmm.
What protection are you going to give me as HR, to kind of deal with this?
Sorry, bro.
You're on your own.
I mean, there's only so much she can do. Like, what's she gonna do?
Yeah.
Go make an announcement? Be like, nobody talked to Thomas about what happened today. Like,
No.
come on.
But like there definitely is like so she responds, she goes, I'm going to address them on a one-by-one basis and ask managers to help to reinforce that there's no need to bring this topic up again. If anyone gives you a hard time, feel free to loop me in and I'll have a conversation with them. So her thinking is like all the people who posted publicly, she's like, okay, if they keep talking about it, like I'll address them one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like we don't have to make a bigger deal about this than it is. But if I hear that it's coming up again or someone's talking about you, then I'm going to also make sure to like intervene because it's against our company values. And also just like everyone grow up and chill. Like this man just had like an embarrassing moment at work, like let him live.
Yep.
And Thomas is like, I understand. Thank you so much. So now that Elaine's had her conversation with Thomas, what are some of the things she's going to have to deal with fallout wise?
Well, you're gonna have depending on how big this company is, you're gonna have someone who wants him to be fired. You're gonna have someone who won't shut up about it. You're gonna have the manager who's like, I can't look him in the face anymore. You're gonna have all of these individual things that are not actionable or like things that are like where the person bringing it up is wrong, but you as HR have to like be like, basically HR's workload, just everything that was a priority for the next 48 hours, kick it down the road because you're going to be dealing with like crisis comms basically for this. You're going to be reactive in a way that HR always has to end up being reactive when you're trying to be proactive. But yeah, she's going to have to be fielding lots of questions and trying to like right the ship probably for, I would guess easily for like the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
And then it'll die down and people will find something else to talk about. But yeah, it's going to be a solid 48 of talking about Thomas and his accidental porn.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think this was, if I remember correctly, this was like on a Tuesday too. So it was early in the work week. So it's kind of just like, you're going to be together for a
Clear
while.
Your schedule for the rest of the week.
Yeah.
If it's died down by Friday, take a day off.
Yeah. Yeah. For real. This is like this is when HR needs to take a mental health day at the end of it. And it's not because, and you know what it is? It's not because of the incident itself. It's not because
it's because of the repeated discussion she has to have about it. It's not like, because it's so sensitive, it's not something where you can have a blanket email that goes out to the whole company, because that's going to be, that's not appropriate in this case. That's not good for Thomas. That's not good for the business. So she's going to have a lot of individual conversations with people, varying from, oh my God, I want to gossip about this, in which case just email HR confessions instead.
Well, she did.
To people who like want action to be taken that is not appropriate, to people who perhaps have their own personal traumas or triggers or things that like have come up as a result of this that they need to process and talk through. There's going to be lots of individual questions that she can't answer, that like gonna have to have the same conversation over and over. I hope her copy paste fingers got really strong of like, I can't talk about that, or that's not appropriate for us to talk about. Like, let's move on.
Yeah. This is the one that I have like a hard time with, is the folks who respond with like, I can't look them in the eye anymore. Like I have to work with that person. And now I've seen this, like, you have to do something about that because now I don't feel safe working with this person at the company.
Right.
I have a very hard time with those because it's kind of one of those, like, I see all the sides. Right.
But he wasn't doing anything like violent or illegal or like, so that's where like, if it had been something violent or illegal, I would have a different opinion versus something that's just like embarrassing because it was, assuming this was consensual and this was his partner. Like, there's nothing wrong with what he was doing. It's just the video should not have come to his company.
Yeah. Work-life integration.
Right. I mean, you have the same kind of issues where, like, if you run into a coworker outside of work and we used to deal with this a lot in San Francisco companies where, during Pride Week or doing Folsom Street Fair, where like Folsom is like it's an event that's everyone busts out their leathers and it's like the S&M bondage street fair festival, like
right.
And
if you work and live in San Francisco, the odds of you running into coworkers at this event is high if you're yeah.
And so you just have to know that, like, people have their lives outside of work, and you might run into coworkers in situations where you're like, oh, I saw you in your assless chaps, and now I have to talk to you about the marketing numbers. Like,
you have to do pair programming now.
Be a fucking grown up. Like, I don't know what to tell you. But it's a similar, I would respond in a similar way if someone came to me and was like, now that I've seen this, I can't unsee it. How am I supposed to look him in the eye? And I'm like, be a grown up. Like, yeah, you shouldn't have seen that. And now I need you to move past it. If you're having trouble processing because of something that was hurtful to you, or something that was offensive to you, or something that you're afraid of, or like, talk to me, talk to a therapist. But like, if it's just like, wow, that's embarrassing, how am I supposed to work with him? Like, I'm sorry, you need to grow up. Go work somewhere else.
Yeah. No, and that's fun. It's funny because like I have a similar response of just like, it's not like there's a line where your reaction and response to something that makes you uncomfortable is not my problem.
Right.
Even as HR, even like, you know, at the workplace. And it's, you know, I think the key is to say, I'm here to talk if you need to talk. If you know, talk to a therapist if it's something that you really need to talk through and process.
Right.
But it's kind of just like, it's not my responsibility to make sure that you're in a workplace that never makes you uncomfortable at all. Right. It's kind of just you want to make it so that it's not.
I've run into coworkers at the grocery store. Like, okay, should I just get really personal? I can get really personal.
Yes. It's HR confessions.
That's right. I once ran into a coworker at Target after having a baby, and I was buying adult diapers for myself because I was out of adult diapers and I needed to purchase more. Because after you have a baby, often depends are where it's at. Shout out depends. And I was like, hey, how's it going? You can see the full contents of my cart. You see my chocolate stash. You see my Kleenex. You see my diapers. You see my baby's diapers.
Through it.
Like, what can I tell you? Nice to see you. And to their credit, they were just like, so good to see you out and about. Hope you're healing well. Like, enjoy your leave. Send us pictures of the baby. Like, they were very cool about it. And that's what grown-ups should do. Like, we are not sterile robots who only exist within the confines of our workplace.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's like the key is just like, we're not sterile robots who only can exist in the confines of our workplace. We're fully formed human beings who have lives outside of work.
Sometimes we have sex with our partners, and sometimes we shouldn't send those videos to our team.
Right.
But like, but again, like you
just presented.
Just presented. That's right.
Yeah.
But like Elaine said, accidents happen, mistakes happen.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I hate people who judge other people for things they have done outside of work, as long as those things are not harming others. Like, as long as nobody's getting hurt. Like,
well, there's always someone, and there's always especially when you're seeing it in a work environment like this, it's also just like people trying to have some kind of power or feeling like,
they
you know,
weren't
it's
expecting
a sign.
it. You know, it was a surprise.
Right. It was a surprise, but they're also trying to be like, at least I've never done that. Like, I might be messing up at work, but at least I've never done that. Yeah, which is usually just insecurity in like a fancy dress. And you know, I think there's just this acknowledgement that, again, we do have lives outside of work. It's not my responsibility to like make you feel entirely comfortable with everything. You know, but like if it's kind of like knowing where the line is and what the what, like, there's no crime being committed. Like, it's fine. It's just embarrassing. It is what it is. Let's move on.
Right.
Yeah, so there is some damage control to do, but thankfully it doesn't seem like it was really that bad.
Yeah.
So Elaine has to have a few conversations with people about acting like an adult.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of just like this is obviously a mistake, and if they have issues working with Thomas as a result, then the company will do what they can to help. That's the most that I got. And that's
Yeah.
why I wanted to talk about that with you, because like I've been in these situations where people are just like, I
Right.
can't work with him anymore. And I've always kind of
Right.
been like, well, that's not really a me problem or a Thomas problem. That's a you problem. So you
Right.
can address that in, these few different
That's a
ways.
you problem, so you can address it.
Yes. Yeah. And luckily, in the grand scheme of things, like most people seem to move on pretty quickly. At least I'm going to call it at the professional level. So I can't
Okay.
promise that the story doesn't get passed around outside the workplace every once
Well,
in a while. I
sure.
mean, it became a confession. So like,
Right.
it's definitely one of those stories that has a way of sticking around. But it sounds like they moved on like pretty quickly at work, and poor Thomas is probably just like trying to pretend that it never happened.
Yeah.
I wonder if he
Yeah.
has like, I don't know about you, but I sometimes have those moments where I wake up and I remember something like really embarrassing that I did in high school, and I'm just embarrassed about it all over again. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
no one else probably remembers. I wonder if that happens to Thomas. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
I Yeah. I wonder how Thomas told his wife.
I wonder if he told his wife. Okay, so this is like this isn't even like the HR confession side of it. This is the people curiosity.
Mhm.
We don't know. We don't know if
Okay.
Thomas told his wife. We don't know anything
I
along those
hope
lines.
he did, so that the next time she sees these people, she at least knows, or like can prepare herself.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
I have a theory
What's your
and the theory
theory?
is based on because I have information that you don't have yet. So
Uh-oh.
I'll give you the
Uh-oh.
information now. So a few months after this incident happens, Thomas resigns. So
Oh,
in his exit
okay.
interview, he talks about how he got approached for this bigger opportunity that he's excited about. And once it was offered to him, he realized he and maybe his wife would welcome a fresh start. So the timing of his resignation means he's no longer attending the company holiday party. And yes,
Mm,
this is one of those holiday parties that invites spouses.
okay.
So my
Well,
theory
that's
is that,
convenient.
yeah, my theory is that instead of telling her, he just quit and then made
And
it so
got a
that
new job.
got a
Hmm.
new job and she never has to see these people again.
Yeah.
Hopefully, because like again, what if she runs into them in Target and they're all like,
Right.
"Hey,
And they're like, "Hey, saw you naked."
yeah."
Like, awkward.
Oh, I just have so much
Oh,
secondhand embarrassment for them, and like it's just one of those things. And Elaine is still with the company, so this
good
was
for
this
her.
was a totally anonymous confession, which is why I don't have like any follow-up responses or answers. I only
Right.
have
Right.
what she
Right.
gave me.
Right.
Um, and she says the volunteer culture is still alive and well. This is like I thought this was funny.
Wonderful.
Yeah. But they've toned down how they share their projects in the all hands. So it's more slide decks now and less compilation videos. So it's like you have to
Probably
put it
smart
into a slide.
anyway. Like,
Yes. Yeah. But it's like, of course, one unfortunate incident ruins things for everyone. Cause like we used to
yeah.
get fun videos and now we just get slides because of that time someone accidentally shared their sex tape with the company.
I mean, it's a story.
It is. It is.
It's a
And it's kind of
story.
like the way that you can do your best to, to control this, make sure that you see the content before it gets presented to the
Oh,
entire company and
yeah.
that it's controlled or at least as controlled as possible.
Yep.
But that's the end of our story. So I have some things for us to break down if you're game.
Oh, I'm always game.
Yeah.
My
So,
dude. Poor
is
guy.
there anything else? So I know we kind of seemed like on the same team as Elaine, same page as Elaine as what she
Yeah.
did. Is there anything else she should have, could have, or maybe would have done that she didn't do in the story?
Well, I don't know if she did this or not, but I hope that she did a little debrief with the executive team afterwards as well.
I
Just
hope so.
as an example of like, here's how we handle things. Here's how we should handle things here. Because there's going to come a time where something like this happens and she's not there to handle it. Maybe
Hmm.
she's out sick that day or she's not in the meeting or whatever. And I think it's a good teachable moment for the rest of the executive team um, to share with them, here's how I would like to see it. Here's how I handled it. And here's
Yeah.
how we should be handling these things moving
Yeah.
forward. Hopefully
Here's
they
how
never
we
happen again.
learned.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's how we learned. Hopefully this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, exactly. But if it
Yeah.
does, here's our protocol.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I agree. I think that there does need to be some sort of a debrief with the exec team. And again, she may have done that. We just don't
Because you
know.
also want them to be on the same page as you when their employees inevitably come gossiping to them, right? And like have
Yes.
this go
Yep.
down to the management level and like,
Yeah. You have to shut that stuff down. Like you got to shut it down.
You can't let the managers be gossiping with employees about it.
Right, right. And like I wonder what the company holiday party was like, because those are always the times when just all bets are off. It's why I don't know about you. I think we always talk about this. I always leave the holiday party. I'm like, I just do my obligatory hour, make sure the vendors and everything are good, and then I leave because I'm like, I don't want to know anything.
I wonder if because he was no longer an employee, if enough time had passed that it was just a non-issue, or if everyone was like, guess they're not going to be here.
I don't know.
Like, because it was like a couple months, right?
Yes. Well, it sounds like it was, so he resigned 3 months after the incident, but it sounds like the resignation was like just before the company holiday party. Like it just made him be taken off the guest list.
Gotcha.
So like
he resigned and then there was a party. Yeah. I mean, it's very possible that people were, I'm just imagining the conversations. People at the party, they're drinking and they're like, "Oh my God, can you imagine if Thomas and his wife were here? Oh my God,
that's
good thing he quit." Like,
yeah. Or if there's like people who've been hired since then, like,
and they don't know the story.
Yes,
because for sure,
when you have it's a 70-person company, right? So that's not
it's pretty small.
Yeah, it's not big. So it's like they could still. Now I'm completely just hypothetical. I'm hypotheticalizing things, right? But so. Now, Thomas had been with the company for a while when he resigned. So, like, he had been with the organization for a while. People knew him. Yeah, people knew his wife. He resigns, like, right before the holiday party. So, I wonder if there's an announcement. Like, if they announced, like, oh, Thomas is moving on.
I'm sure
Thomas
they
is
did.
doing other
I'm
things.
sure there was some sort of announcement that he was leaving the company.
Right. Because, like, usually in orgs, it's just like, oh, news of someone's departure. Especially when it's a voluntary resignation, it's not, especially then it's like, oh, we want to wish him luck, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
But do you think that if they did do that, like one, if they do that for everybody, they have to do it for Thomas, right?
Yes, of course.
But in doing that, do you think that brought it all up again just in time for the holiday party for people to talk about it?
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because people who maybe weren't thinking about Thomas now are thinking about him again.
Yes. Now they're thinking about him again. And it's like, and it may be in like the 3 months since, like there might be new hires who weren't there. So now it's like prime time to kind of be like, hey, let me tell you this funny thing that happened at this company, new hire at the holiday party.
Right.
Oh, this is why I avoid
and he doesn't work here anymore. So it's okay. Like we can talk about him.
Right. Right.
There's always that. No. Like,
yeah. And so
gossip about people who don't work at your company anymore feels harmless to people because that person, you don't know them. They don't know them.
Yeah. It does feel harmless. I think it's still one of those things that's just like
too close for comfort for me.
Yeah.
Since they're a former employee, you should just not be doing that. But again, that's why we exist on this podcast.
Yeah. And no one gossips about how well Elaine handled it. It's always about like Thomas. Right? It's about like Elaine was a superhero. Elaine did such a good job.
About she was so cool. Elaine was protecting Thomas from himself.
Yes, yes. Which is what we're doing here. Because like I thought that she absolutely nailed that response. I love that. Sometimes, it's like sometimes we get these stories and like the initial responses are so like protocol, legal, risk. And I just loved that Elaine was just like, I don't give a crap what all these people are saying right now. Like, I'm going to go check on Thomas. I'm just going to go because like, I don't think he's good right now. Or, all these other people that we find, we've got people doing damage control in Slack, but like, I just care about Thomas. Like, shout out Elaine for putting your human first, your humanity first, and for helping someone feel in a very vulnerable position, helping them feel safe and advocated for and cared for. Cause like, that's a lot of the work that we get to do in HR that gets very underappreciated, but that is like the core of what it's supposed to be in a lot of ways.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have one more question for you. So this is like to me, this is a story all about balance too. So how do we balance the no harm done with we never want this to happen again conversation? Kind of like, it's fine, don't worry about it, but also don't do it again. How do you balance that?
I think after a little time has passed, like, when you're doing your next update of the employee handbook, for example, like make sure you include something in there about proper sharing of personal item materials or whatever. But I would probably for the next forever just like be more vigilant when planning all hands meetings.
Yeah.
And like I've had all hands meetings where I or someone on my team has been responsible for reviewing all of the material before it gets shared,
Mm-hmm.
for having people send me their stuff so that I can be the one responsible for playing it, versus having, like, the more people you have plugging shit in during an all hands, the more likely something's going to happen. I mean,
Yeah.
even if it's something as simple as like someone plugs in, they're going to do their own screen share from their own computer and they open it up and there's an inappropriate image as their background image or something, right?
Yeah.
Like, or someone texts them while they're presenting and it's
Yeah.
inappropriate. Like, there's all sorts of ways that can go wrong. So, like, the more you can consolidate your all hands and not have multiple people in control, the better.
Yeah.
I would probably, just for simplicity's sake, it's a small company, I would probably be like, hey, from now on, we're going to manage all of the all hands materials from a centralized
Yeah.
location.
Yeah.
Like, send me
I
your
agree.
materials. I'll make sure they get presented. It's
Yeah.
a better way to do it anyway, because then you can have one person driving and, like,
Yeah. And like, here's a slide template for you to use. Just plug your stuff in,
yeah,
send it back to me. I'll put it into the deck. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
And it's funny because I agree. It is like, and it sounds like they did do that. So now they're
Yeah.
using slide templates instead of videos. And it's kind of just like, that is sort of the move. So it's funny because that's also sort of the, I don't know, one of the underlying parts of this is that's also a signal of company growth or company
Mm-hmm.
like size changing, right? Because now it's
Sure.
like, it used to just be that it was a small group. We were able to kind of keep things a little bit more casual, but the bigger you get, the
Right.
more things you have to structure and the more things
Mm-hmm.
you have to formalize. And
Right.
it has to happen because sometimes it can be really tempting if I'll speak for HR because I don't want to speak for other disciplines. I've only been in HR in these types of scenarios, but it can be really tempting when you're starting at a company that's in this scale up phase to say, okay, we're going to put together all these new processes, all these new things just to make sure that everything's good. I always try to advocate for like build what you need when you need
Mm-hmm.
it in a lot of
Yeah.
cases. Like have your playbook ready, but don't go
Yep.
too far ahead of the culture because then you're going to lose people. And
Right.
this is a prime example of that. Is like we didn't know that we needed to control the
Right.
all hand slides until we did. And now that we
Right.
know, now we
Right.
control them.
Right. And it probably would not have been a good use of time or resources, human resources, um, to go through the legwork of building a streamlined, centralized deck, et cetera, when they were like 20 people or
Right.
30 people.
Right.
But I mean, 70 employees is part of that inflection point of, like, you have one at 50 and then you have one around
Yep.
75 or so, like, where you have to rethink how you communicate internally.
Mm-hmm.
And those are like the little baby step inflection points that people don't often think about because they're still like under 100 or under 500. It's like you still have to, like, carefully navigate those turning points so that you
Yeah.
know, like, you're not 10 people in a room anymore. You're not 20 people on Zoom. Like, 70 people is a much bigger number of people to be communicating
Yeah.
with.
Yep. Yeah. And that's kind of the part that I think is like kind of cool is just like knowing just it's almost like when you're at an inflection point because there is like
Yeah.
this is what I would consider an actual growing pain. Like
Right.
yes, it was that
Right.
not so much the
painful.
Thomas part, but the how much bigger the fallout is or how much bigger
Mhm.
the things you have to do to direct it becomes. It's like this is
Right.
an element of like, okay, we're growing, we're scaling. And
Right.
I think what I've been trying to do is I haven't been very good at it lately, but what I've been trying to do at Skill Cycle as we grow is like write down like the little moments that are just like,
Mhm.
oh, this is all of a sudden this place is starting to feel bigger because we've been growing, we've been like hiring
Yeah.
people. And I'm trying to kind of like keep it because as a founder, it's just like weird. You go from being like one or two people
Yeah.
to all of a sudden you're like, oh, we have like we're
A
supporting whole
team.
families. There's a whole team. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so trying to write down like those little milestones. And I would say if you're in HR and you're doing similar work, just like write down almost like journal your culture
Yeah.
because
I love
that's how you
that.
can like look back and kind of say, oh, this little thing actually was sort of like
Mhm.
a milestone moment in our growth. And,
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be something like this, but it's just
No,
like,
I
when
mean,
did you
I've
have to
seen it.
deformalize things more?
Yeah, like around, I don't know, 100-ish employees or so is when I've often, it's a totally different example, but like moved from a Google form for requests to a ticketing system. And the
Mm-hmm.
ticketing system might be just like a form in Asana that can auto assign categories and people, or it
Yeah.
could be using something like a Jira or like the ticketing system your engineering team is using or whatever. But you get to a point where you're like, wow, this process, this way of doing things while it was lovely for our culture before, it's not scaling with us.
Mm-hmm.
And what do we want to keep? What do we want to hold on to from this process? Because it feels like it's the essence of what our culture is and what our values are and like how we want to be as a company. And how do we like take that nugget and scale it so that it's size and stage appropriate for where we are now?
Yeah. We're not trying to overhaul too much at once and leaving people behind either. It's like baby steps. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the very like, it's like with parenting, you say like, do what works until it doesn't work anymore and then try something different.
Yeah.
I feel like it's the same way with the startups. And that's, I mean, my sweet spot is often coming into companies where they're experiencing a big cultural shift and trying to like, you know, founders who are afraid to lose the culture that they built, but knowing that they like, it's not going to work for where they're growing, and looking at that balance and saying, okay, well, what is it about this that you love? What about it feels really good? What is the like emotional state that you want to capture? And how can we keep that and hold that dear while also creating a system and structure that's going to scale with the business where we're at now?
Yeah. Yeah. It's such like an interesting time too. Cause like it's funny because a lot of the customers that we start with, you know, cause we do a whole performance management system, right? So it's like usually companies that are just starting with performance management, they're coming off of either spreadsheets or maybe something that's in like their PEO or their HRIS.
Yep.
And so they're at us, and that inflection point is usually like the 100 employees. And the biggest questions that we always get that we're always like working with is, how do I get people to use a new system that doesn't feel so foreign to them? And it's just like, these are like those little milestone inflection things. It's just like, try to keep the things that people like, and then try to just build on them and add. It's like a rule in nutritious cooking too. It's like, don't think about what you need to remove from a recipe. Think what you can add to a food. So it's like, instead of taking out sugar, it's like add fiber or something. It's like a similar thing, similar principle. Yeah.
Interesting. I like that.
But that's our story. That's our story about the all hands that no one will ever forget.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah.
What a time.
And if you out there are listening to this and you have a story about a meeting that went completely off the rails, or, you know, and encountering an employee in the wild that went completely off the rails, or a coworker, submit it through the link in our show notes.
Let us know stories. We'll take them.
Yeah. Send me a DM on LinkedIn or email us at hrconfessions@skillcycle.com. Like, we promise you're in good company. We get a lot of stuff coming through. And and no story is too uneventful, because you'd be surprised. I feel like there's gonna eventually be to do a compilation episode of just like themes. So like, we could do holiday parties, we could do offsites.
Oh my God.
Stop. There's always something.
We'll like start categorizing into collections on the Skill Cycle website.
Yeah, the anthology.
Yeah,
the holiday party anthology.
This is the crime section.
Yes, God. Hopefully we don't have too many in that one, but I know we have at least one.
I was gonna say we've already had a few.
Yeah.
This is the celebrity encounter
one or
section.
Two just this season. Yeah. Oh man, you're right. Now I'm gonna go tag all of our old episodes with like the compilation.
Hashtag doing crimes. Oh my God.
All right. Well, that's all. And thanks everybody for listening. Thanks, Kim, for being here. Bye.
Thank you again. Bye-bye.